Okay guys, quick video on the foreign real estate parasites of Japan. Let's do it.
Let's go.
So this is just a quick topic on the foreigners coming to Japan and doing what they did in their own countries. So as a lot of people probably already known, this real estate sort of bonanza thing has destroyed a lot of communities, and I was watching a bit of a documentary on Vancouver recently, and they had this lady, and she was in her neighborhood, and the street was totally empty, and there was no kids playing basketball or whatever on the street, and it was just really solemn. And she was talking about just how vibrant and nice her community was until all the foreigners came in and bought all the properties. So a lot of these properties that were bought, Vancouver, Sydney, all these places around the world in this real estate bonanza, it's totally thrown a wrench in the way communities operate. Communities aren't as strong as before, and this sort of mentality, I can see it already coming to Japan. There's been a growth of interest in properties, not just doing up old places, but basically investing, going into working class communities, buying up property and renting it out to people, and everybody knows what the end result of this will be. So what generally happens is the people that are living there, they can afford it when it first starts happening, but rents slowly climb, people get greedy, and then all of a sudden the whole community changes. People don't know each other, people aren't as close, there's not a lot of activities and stuff going on. The rugby clubs, the soccer clubs, they don't have enough people to fill all the age groups playing rugby, and the whole dynamics of the community changes for the worse. So the yields and return on properties now, because the properties are so expensive overseas, these parasites are now looking elsewhere. It's probably not just Japan, it's probably other countries as well, but it's just the whole mentality of it all. It's just people just after a dollar, and don't really have any personal investment in communities or things like that. They just want to return, and I've just seen it firsthand, and probably you guys have as well, but it's coming here, and probably not to the same extent, but I can see it, and it's quite possible with the yen being lower that this is going to accelerate. When local wages can't keep up with the greed of the investors, these people slowly move away, they lose track of their friends, they move to totally different areas, and the quality of life is just not the same. They have to move away from all their support networks, people they grew up with, things like this, and it's never a good thing at all. And one of the reasons I've chosen to do this video is actually last week I was a little bit busy, and I looked at a couple of akyas for one of my patrons. I just did a bit of a pre-building inspection just to see if it's worth getting a proper one before. And I spoke with a couple of guys who were selling akyas not far from my place, and there's nothing for sale. And I asked this guy, I said, who's buying them all? And it's basically the refugees from Tokyo that have been renting there, and it's just getting a little bit too much for them. So obviously the rents are increasing in the bigger cities, and the main influx of buyers coming in Japan are foreigners. out from Tokyo, and these people have children, and I'd say they realise that they can probably never afford to buy a place where they are, and Nagano's a lot cheaper. So when you've gone from an area having lots of old Kamikas and things for sale to basically zero, there's definitely something happening. I've also seen the uptick in English-speaking YouTube channels discussing investing in Japan and buying houses and renting them out and just doing the basic parasite thing. That's been happening a lot in the West, and it seems to have gained popularity as well. So these channels have certainly found an audience. So no doubt there's a lot of investors that follow their channels. So there's definitely a positive when you have foreign investment and things like that, but it's the type of investment that matters. Buying up houses in working class areas where services are and where communities are strong, it's not really the best form of investment. But as people know, anybody can buy property in Japan and they welcome it. It's just these areas that are being targeted that I've seen. They're just exactly following the same pattern that's happened in the West, and I can't see it being any good for Japan. So I sort of regard these people as the rentier class. They don't actually produce any wealth. They don't start businesses with their capital. They don't generate jobs. They really, all they do is just force up prices. And it's a really negative form of investment as far as I'm concerned, because these people, they're not actually spending a lot of money doing places up, so they're not really spending money in the economy either. Just doing the bare minimum to get the highest return. It's just the same recipe over and over. So I grew up in a working class area, and you could buy the whole place for $1.50. It was an absolute ghetto. But even now, the prices where I grew up, they're still over $800,000. And as I said, absolute ghetto. And there's no way that people can afford to buy a house. And I assume that's everywhere in the major cities. I'm from Sydney. I hear a lot of the whinging going on, and that people's kids can't afford houses anymore, and this is the exact same dynamic. People from overseas were allowed to park their money in the local economy and compete for housing stock. So before, what used to happen is you'd be bidding against somebody locally, but now you're bidding against anybody. Anyway, it might sound a little bit negative, but that's just been my experience in my life, and I've seen what it's done to where I grew up, and I've also seen what it's done in other cities around the world, and also a lot of the whinging going on, and people not being able to afford to buy houses, and it just seems that opening the market up locally for sort of working class housing especially, it's just not a good idea. I mean, if it was high rise new, I can sort of understand, but not existing sort of houses in communities, it's just not gonna end well. So anyway guys, I'm back. I've got my stuff for tomorrow's cafe, and that's just a few of my thoughts on the topic. there seems to be sort of all this positivity, people coming over and investing and doing all this sort of thing, but I don't know, from what I've seen, I really don't like it. I don't know what you guys think, but if it was investment in different forms, and it could be real estate or whatever, that's really good. But the whole idea of buying up existing working class houses in good functioning communities, I just don't think it's a good idea at all. Anyway, guys, as always, hope you like the video.
Let's go home.